This video has been funded in part by the Guild via Patreon. Check out the links in the description or at the end of this video for more details. Hello everybody, my name is Chris Gildart, and welcome to another Pros vs. Cons mini-review. Today, I want to take a look at Fire Emblem Engage. After Koei Tecmo had a helping hand with Three Houses, and I absolutely love that game, I wanted to see what sort of direction the series would be taken in. Three Houses was my first ever true Fire Emblem experience outside of Heroes, which I wouldn't say counts. I obviously also played Fire Emblem Warriors before that, but again, I don't think that counts. I have since played a bit of the original thanks to its re-release on Switch and a few other entries in the series, but I haven't played enough to really say that I'm a big Fire Emblem fan. That being said, I have always been interested in the series. Now that Fire Emblem Engage is here though, I am excited to jump in. But let's talk about the history of this entry because I do find it a bit unique. This game had a fairly big leak in 2022 with some images and details. The images saw a lot of backlash, especially around the picture of the main character. Some people even claimed it was fake. Rumors spread that Koei Tecmo was being brought back thanks to the success of Three Houses, except this time instead of Ko Shibusawa, Ryohei Hayashi, Yuki Ikeno, and Mari Okamoto helping to write the story, Gust was being brought in for the story as well as the design, which is why everything had a more anime style to it. Honestly, I didn't really care too much about these leaked images. The multicolored hair and design was fine, but what I cared about is what it looked like in action and whether the story would be just as good as Three Houses. As more information came out, we would find out most, if not all, of the leaks were true. The only thing that wasn't true was Koei Tecmo's involvement. Now that last part is a bit disappointing, but Koei Tecmo's omission doesn't mean this is going to be a bad game. But maybe I'm getting a bit too far ahead of myself. How is the game? Well, before we go too far, don't forget to give this video a like, comment with your thoughts below, and of course subscribe if you haven't already. Alright, let's take a look at Fire Emblem Engage. Ready, set, pros! Starting things off on the usual foot with these mini-reviews, the visuals for Fire Emblem Engage are quite the step above what we got with Three Houses and Three Hopes. I mentioned it in my mini-review of Three Hopes that the resolution of these two games didn't really feel like it was reaching the 1080p that it said it was delivering. It almost looked like a 720p signal upscaled to 1080p with no smoothing done whatsoever. Fire Emblem Engage has a more similar visual style to the first Fire Emblem Warriors than it does to the Three Houses games, which I consider to be a better game visually. The cutscenes on display with Engage could even pass as a 3D anime. Now, graphics are one thing, but gameplay is a whole other thing. Three Houses really did a great job bringing the modern Fire Emblem formula to home console. Fire Emblem Engage takes everything Three Houses did and works off of that while making itself feel like a unique experience and going back to the classic games. The usual weapon triangle is here where swords beat axes, which beats spears, which beats swords. Each weapon will have a different attack and range, which is nice because you can equip your character with multiple weapons and items to make their loadout match what you need. This can include an axe wielder who's able to equip a throwing axe. If you do this when an archer attacks, the character can counter back. There are also fine details that bring out the strategy in this game, like how an archer with a regular bow equipped can only attack an enemy 2 spaces away, not 1. Meanwhile, a mage can attack both 1 and 2 spaces away. Characters riding mounts can usually move more spaces than those on foot. Almost every action provides experience, but actually killing an enemy gives a lot more than dealing damage. So if you have a tank that's just wiping out the enemies, you may want to have them take the rear while you level up your other characters. Vander. The unique part of this game is being able to equip your characters with emblem rings. These rings hold the power to summon emblems, which are heroes from previous games like Marth and Celica. When you equip a character with these rings, you can gain buffs and those heroes will join you in battle alongside who they're equipped to. Sometimes this can mean that that character can move more spaces, attack more often, or dodge more frequently. You can also engage with these emblems for a certain amount of turns, which gives you a boost to your stats and acts access to special attacks that can deal a lot of damage or have special effects. Similar to old games, where attacking next to allies will increase bond and relationship, attacking and engaging with emblems increases your bond with them. When you have an emblem reach new bond levels, you unlock active and passive skills, which can be inherited by the character, so you don't need to keep that emblem equipped to keep that buff. There is a lot to keep in mind if you want to get the most out of this game's combat, but if you're here for the story and just the story, there are aspects that you don't need to explore if you don't feel like it. Speaking of the story, how is it? I say it a lot when reviewing JRPGs that a story will make or break this type of game. Fire Emblem Engage's story doesn't grip me right away like Three Houses did, but the story does feel like it belongs in an anime, which keeps me plugged to the console, playing through every stage so I can find out what will happen next. The story starts off with a cutscene of a battle that is taking place. Alir, your main character, is running past his or her many allies who are fighting off waves of enemies with their emblems. Alir and Marth make it to a room where they find the enemy they are looking for. After a brief tutorial, Alir wakes up to find that they don't remember anything. Fram, Clan, and Vander are there, and they explain that Alir is a divine dragon. These are people who have the power to protect the land. Before too long, they are attacked by the Corrupted, an undead creature who comes at them relentlessly. Alir and gang make their way through where they meet Alir's mother. They all go to the Somniel, a castle in the sky which serves as the home of the divine dragon and a handful of emblem rings. After some more tutorial, everyone decides to rest and will talk more in the morning. However, in the middle of the night, the Somniel is attacked and some emblem rings are stolen. Not only that, Alir's mother dies in the attack. Alir decides to take up the mantle of Divine Dragon and bring together the emblem rings and take down the villain behind all of this, the Fell Dragon. There are 12 rings in total, but only 6 were held in the Somniel. The others were given to the different cities of the land to protect, so not all were in one place. Alir then sets out with their band of heroes to find all of the rings and save the land. When I say this game's story feels straight out of an anime, I mean it. This could easily be a weekly shonen anime that you'd find getting simultaneously uploaded to Crunchyroll or High Dive. One thing that makes this story that much better is the wide array of varied characters. I've only made it as far as chapter 6 at the time of writing this, and I still have no idea who I'm going to potentially romance. Every single character is unique in their personality, which is nice considering how many characters there are. They all have great interactions too. None of them feel out of place in this world or with this cast of characters. I'm excited to see who else I'm going to run into and what other personalities I could potentially choose to romance. No matter what your tastes are, I'm certain there is a character for you. Similar to roaming around Garreg Mach and interacting with all the characters in Three Houses, exploring the Somniel and talking to everyone in Fire Emblem Engage is just as cool. There's a handful of facilities you'll slowly unlock as you progress through the story. This will range from your basic weapon and item shops to a clothier and even an arena that can be used to level up and strengthen your characters. I found myself going here after every battle. Anytime I could jump over to the Somniel to gather items, speak to characters, and just make sure I wasn't missing out on anything, I would. You will also get an opportunity to explore battlefields once you finish the stage. This has a similar opportunity to talk to people and gather items as well. You can also find animals, but you can't pet them? What the hell is this? This is the worst game ever! I take it back, I take it back, I take it back! Cons! Now, even though I praise this game's visuals, I still think that the Switch is capable of better. I can't deny that the overall resolution has seen a good improvement, but you can still see jaggies off in the distance. This becomes extremely apparent when looking at environmental pieces like stairs and pillars. I just wish the Switch was a more powerful console to really bring out the visuals in these games. As well, though the story is good, I feel at times like the story and gameplay are too separated. This could be due to the visual styles. The cutscenes have such fluidity and even the conversational pieces look great. They're way better than the basic visual novel style conversations that we'd see in most JRPGs. Then the visual style of the combat feels very basic. I don't know, but I feel like a more dynamic camera angle and the ability to freely roam around the space your character can move would be great, or at least the option to do something like that. Three Houses had a similar option where if you zoomed the camera into a certain point, you'd switch from a grid-based option to a free roaming one. I thought that was so cool, so it would have been nice to see that in Engage. The thing is, the stark difference in visual style from combat to cutscene almost feels like I'm playing a game in between episodes of an anime. There's another thing that kind of disappoints me when comparing Engage to Fire Emblem Three Houses, and that's the base of operations. As cool as it is to roam around the Somnio, the grand exploration of Garreg Mach cannot be matched. Multiple places to explore, many characters to interact with. It was like Garreg Mach was alive. I'm hoping that as you get more characters and emblems, the Somnio will reach a similar livelihood, but as it is right now, it feels a little bare bones in comparison. I mean, at least it's not the base camp of Three Hopes. My final complaint, as with most of these reviews, is extremely personal, and I know it will seem small to most, but god damn it is it annoying. When I play a very story-heavy game, I like to shut myself off from the rest of the world and dive headfirst into the experience. This is why I dislike it when JRPGs have a Japanese dub only, and sections of the story are only told through text. I'm happy to report that not only does Fire Emblem Engage have an English dub, it also utilizes it during every major and most minor story points. The biggest aspect that I hate is that you don't have the option to turn subtitles off. As someone with ADHD, my eyes will gravitate to the part that pops out the most, and if a scene stays the same but the text at the bottom of the screen changes, that's where my eyes are gonna go to look. It takes me out of the experience in a way that I can only explain as immersion breaking. Again, this is an extremely personal thing, and I know it's not going to affect most people, but come on, almost every game released nowadays has subtitle options. In the end, Fire Emblem Engage was quite engaging. I couldn't put my controller down and would constantly be looking for what's gonna happen next. Exploring the small environments after battle was a real treat to try and adopt all the animals, gather all the items, and speak to all the characters. Combat is extremely rewarding and an overall fun experience. That being said, I think Three Houses is the better overall experience so far, though I'm only getting started with this game. With all that being said, I give Fire Emblem Engage a thumbs up. Even though I think the visuals could have been better even for the Switch, I do understand that the Switch isn't as powerful as other modern consoles. Not only that, visuals aren't everything. Gameplay and story are key, especially the story when it comes to a JRPG. I am certain, without a shadow of a doubt, that I will be playing much more Fire Emblem Engage, and I'll be doing my best to find time between video work and life to sit down and finish it. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for watching my mini review of Fire Emblem Engage. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and subscribe for more. Also, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and let me know what your favorite Fire Emblem game is so I can actually start playing through some of the good ones. If you'd like to help support the channel and what I do here, you can join the guild just like these awesome people that you're seeing on screen right now. You can join their names at the end of every single video for just $1 a month over on Patreon, or you can donate in a one-time fashion over on Ko-fi. There are other rewards and other tiers as well, so check out the links that you see on screen, and I will see you all down in the comments. And Nintendo, please, for the love of God, stop making your characters so fucking hot!